Moaning scrubs. Listen. I love the one to be say, I told you so. Love the one to be able to say, I told you so. Hit that like button up. Hit the like button up. I love to be the one to say, I told you. Because I told you. I told you. Listen. It's quite clear, ladies and gentlemen, that when you put people on the court at the same time, these acts are gonna happen. I told them this was gonna happen the day I saw it on television. When the NBA played its games and it had just kicked off, every commercial throughout the NBA game on ESPN had ESPN Bet. Throughout the promotion. I mean, throughout the promotion. Yeah, the entire time. What does that mean? That means show's over. That's what it means. Party's over. Lights out. Party's over. Oh, they gonna block this live stream. Trust me. They was doing that when the scandal was breaking. They didn't want y'all to know anything. Damn sure not from me. Now, all these people get to talk about it. Why are they so concerned about what I got to say? You see, that's what you should be thinking about. Why the hell would they be doing that? Listen, about 2 years ago, ESPN got into the sports gambling, right? And they said, look, we're going to get into the sports gambling field. And the reason they wanted to get into the sports gambling field is because of the fact that, hey, there's a lot of money in here and we need to touch it. And some people see that money as good money. And they don't understand the consequences and what they're dealing with. I told you they had a meeting just 2 days ago. Nobody wanted to listen. I'm doing stuff for hits and views. Right? Okay. Now, right when this scandal broke, with all the NBA players, they put Chauncey Billups' face on the cover of the newspaper, Damon Jones, Terry Rozier, all of these major NBA faces that they're splashing all over the papers. Right? And they're saying, how is this possible? When the scandal breaks out, that ESPN has its own gambling site. I told y'all that. And when this news broke and the game came on, and I said, whoa, look at this. ESPN Bet was not shown through any of the games. I'm like, nobody's paying attention. I paid attention to that right away and told y'all during the live stream. Said, did y'all notice ESPN Bet is not even in any of the promotions? And that's all they promote is ESPN Bet. It's not in any other NBA promotion. And I said, something's going on, fellas. Something huge is going on here. I told y'all then. Everybody kind of ignored it, focused on Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, and everything else, right? And I said, look, something big is happening. Y'all got to read the signs. You got to pay attention to these little small details. So I pointed them out for you so you didn't have to worry about if you saw it or not. So yeah, exactly. So what did you expect when you saw everything play out the way it did? See, they entered, what made it weird, it's not really weird if you look at it. It's what Barstools did with Dave Ployner, or Poivy, or whatever his name is. How he got Barstool back. He took a cash deal to where, you know, they can get in there and he could buy his company back. See, ESPN was buying stock into Penn Entertainment and paying them $150 million a year. So this $2 billion deal that they had, like they say, if Penn didn't like the way it was going in the first year and the terms of the contract, they could void said contract. It's right there in the language. Now, here's another thing. Not only is it in the language, it's moving a little differently. What's very important in that language is something else that I was telling y'all when it came to Gilbert Arenas' deal with Underdog, when he said he didn't have benchmark. See, everybody has a benchmark. You know, they have a goal they're trying to reach. They're having a place they're trying to get to. Now, when they don't hit those marks, when it doesn't hit those designated spots that they want them to hit, things start going off the rails. Some people say, well, what do you mean, Zeno? Well, what I mean is this. The reason things are going off the rails is because other people who are involved are not handling the aspects of what's happening with the open mind of reading the context of the contract. If you don't reach certain thresholds, they could pull out of the contract. If they feel that this isn't working, they could pull out at any time. So now, because of amidst this controversy, and the federal government is looking into this, they're going to say, hold on, you just signed a partnership to host a portion of the NBA games. And you also are an owner of a sports betting site? And you don't think this is a conflict of interest? Now, it said that Robert Kraft owns 7% of DraftKings. I don't know if he still owns 7% or if his 7% even matters. But here's what I told you the problem was when I was noticing it the first time that you probably didn't pay attention to in the live stream. What I told you when they said, hey, no active player can sponsor a bet now, sports betting now. He was like, you won't see an active NBA player in a commercial. They don't have to be in the commercial. There's ways around that. I told you. When you see Steph Curry do an interview with Underdog Fantasy and Gilbert Arenas, and they have Underdog Fantasy stuff, right? And here is Steph Curry, and they showing you Underdog's logo, Underdog this, Underdog that, on their site. What are you doing? What do you call that? I know what I call that, but what would you call that? Now, hey, how you doing? So now they're going to revert back to the online gambling, where they're just going to be online only. It's going to be called like sportsbet.usa. But Penn Entertainment is back doing what they do. So, if that's the rules, that's the narrative, if that's the direction people are going in, who is anyone else to knock it? Because that's the climate they're in. You think it was their decision to pull out? Dog, we all know Russell Westbrook could play. Russ getting the triple-double, that's just Russ. We know he gonna get a triple-double. Listen, when you see narratives that don't make sense or things that go off the rails or they're not usually adding up, the narratives are not playing up to what the expectations are, there's a reason for that. There are so many moving pieces that are involved in this said scenario that when you see it play out, you say, oh, okay, I get it now. You do? All right, well, we'll see. Because it's not shaping up like you get it. The federal government is going to find anybody they can to throw under the bus. And the ESPN, if they want to keep the NBA, I'm quite sure they had no option, no choice. And they told them, y'all going to have to ditch ESPN Bet. So until further notice, they had to take the promotion down. How many professional athletes show up and do podcast shows and they're on all these shows and all this betting stuff is behind them? They be sponsored by MGM Bet. The MGM Bet podcast, here to present, right? The MGM podcast is here, and they're here to present the next award. So now you got the betting podcast show. That shows up. They got all the professional athletes that are currently playing in there. You got Kevin Durant, you got all these people sitting there doing an interview, yet they're not promoting sports gambling. Yet it's all over the internet. So they find a wiggle room around all of those. Can't use pro athletes to sponsor and market it, right? Well, it was a cash deal. See, ESPN was paying $150 million cash every year to Penn Entertainment for stock in the company, where that after the 10-year deal, they would end up owning Penn Entertainment. So now ESPN is forced to sell the stock back to Penn. They could terminate the deal. So after 2 years, they terminated the deal. The fact that it's a cash deal yeah, the federal government's not going to like that. It's a lot of things they're not going to like. Yes, they can show NBA games, but you will not be able to use the ESPN betting app. If anybody ever used it, period, I don't know anybody that has that app, to be honest. But anyone who has that app, just let it be known, you're entering into the danger zone. So, if anybody has ESPN Bet app, they probably already updating you that The writing's on the wall, and it's about to be over. It all depends. It all depends on how far people are willing to go. Jenny Storm is the new commissioner. Well, she's handling all the marketing. So for NBC though, see, when you have 3 different people running the show or running their portion of the show, you basically got 3 different leagues, but they have one singular goal. So now that ABC has the NBA Finals this year, we're going to see what happens we're going to see what happens when this thing escalates to another level. Well, the only way ESPN could lose rights to the NBA games if they did something that was like, let's say they want to keep ESPN Bet, and they said, okay, well, you're gonna have to find someone else to host these games. Your contract is voided. So that means Disney, ABC, the NBA would have to go up for another bid to see who's gonna get those televised games. But the ESPN is not stupid enough to give up the NBA for sports gambling out. From what I've heard, hadn't been very profitable either. So when you don't hit a certain threshold, they're not making the money. Even with $150 million of marketing, ESPN Bet is not even one of the top performing apps. So when you look at it and you see that it's not even one of the top performing apps, what do you think they're going to do? And this is what I was telling Mr. Arenas, that there are such things as benchmarks. That is correct. Benchmarks. And when you don't hit benchmarks, this is what you end up with. These are the narratives that you end up with because you have not hit certain benchmarks that are either required or deemed as necessary. Most people don't even care about that type of stuff because they don't have anybody that's in their corner. They don't have anybody that's pretty much tell them anything about what's happening. It's common sense to me. Once I saw that they took down ESPN Bet, I said, oh, I get it. It's not just falling off, it's the problem. Wait till the Patreon. We're gonna really cook because we got a lot to get off our chest. But this is what I was talking about, people, when it's talking about impactfulness, that this case is gonna change everything. And they're using these 3 NBA players as the catalyst to make the changes. And they're black. So what they gonna do? Spank black people on the wrist. Meanwhile, Otani is sports gambling, but he's an LA Dodger. We gotta let no. No. I wouldn't say underdog is better. I wouldn't tell you. I've never been on an underdog betting site. So seeing how the 50% underdog fantasy, how they're operating. Well, we'll see how everybody's going to move when they're going forward. The majority of the people that's involved don't usually care or hold a torch or what they call a candle up to all of the things that are going on in particulars. They don't really care. Here's the thing. If the Astros was cheating, how the hell they go to like 4 World Series? They won like 2 World Series, and they've been like 4 times. Then they kept returning to AFC championship games or the ALS. No, the team was actually good. But I'm saying it's all fixed. Since the pandemic went down, right. Since that pandemic went down, let me be the first one to tell you. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Have you noticed that a LA team has won a championship every year in professional sports since the pandemic? Once the pandemic hit, they needed all LA teams to win. They had the bubble championship with the Lakers. Then they had the Rams. Then here come with this Dodgers. Didn't the hockey team win something? And I told you, this is all consistent with the what? The Olympics. LA has to be the city of champions for them to host the Olympics, to make sense of it being there, to put that $2 billion stadium there. It's all business, man. And what you saw last night against the Spurs is a prime example of business. Victor Wembanyama met the business end of a boogie wood. And now that that's done, it's being done in a way to not try to make it look inconspicuous or this wasn't part of the plan, when it was always part of the plan. I don't know anything about underdog fantasy gambling app or sports betting. I don't know anything about that. Like I said, I've never been on the app. I've never downloaded it. So I couldn't tell you if it's better than this app or whatever app. As I said just about 15 minutes ago. I don't do draft picks. I don't do prize picks. I use normally 3 sites, and that's it. One site I haven't used in a while. I need to go back. I'm won about 150,000 off them. I need to go back to it. because I don't like some of these sites that once you, this what pisses me off when it seems like they know you picked a winning lineup, because once you hit the winning numbers, they come with this, oh, we got to verify your location, and then you trying to bet. You're like, what the hell? Why is it the screen froze? So now they're freezing your screen because you seem to have hit all the correct buttons. So they cannot be, this bet cannot be taken in this format. Why not? It's like, what the hell? Then you go back and fix it. Then you place another game in there, and then the bet go through perfectly. Then you have all them right except for one game, the one that you had to add. And he'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. I had it right, and y'all screwed me. You're tired of load management? I was saying, did Austin Reeves even play last night? Nope. What was his illness? And I'm like, how is this supposed to better the league? We want to keep these guys fresh for the playoffs. So let me get this straight. You want these guys to play 60 something games because it's better for them and pay them more money for less games? All you're getting ready to do is prepare these guys for a world they're not ready for. But when you're controlling the game, what does it all matter? Right? You're going to put these guys in there anyway. So what does skill matter at this point? If you just got a magnet ball where you could direct the ball to go and do whatever the hell it is that you want it to do, what's the point? Like we always say, they'll figure it out. But will it be too late when they figure it out? He said, stop betting parlays if you want to make money. What is there to bet on there? Yeah, pretty much. So if you know that ESPN is had a choice, broken ice or broken neck, why are you surprised? You should have expected that. I expected them to fold like that. I expected them not to be able to do anything that was required. Oh yeah, we're gonna do a Patreon version because Patreon is gonna be loaded tonight. Believe me, been giving y'all some time to process what we put out earlier. Now you got to get the full blunt. Yeah, you finna get some blunt force trauma now. Because we're going to explain this in more detail. But it's really leading to that we're being so nice not to involve. Well, everything moves to a beat of its own drum. So if you consistently do something, eventually it's going to work against you. Eventually. It's not all the time. It's not every day and all the time you see someone come up and say, hey, man, I appreciate you, man. You did this for me. You did that for me. Appreciate you. Love. You don't get that anymore. You know what you get? Sorry, dog. I was going to put some on your book, but I'm sorry, dog. I'm sorry. Oh, you're sorry. How about you not be sorry for a while? Why don't you incorporate not being sorry? Why would they? Why would they want to change? Why would they want to change what they've been doing? That doesn't benefit them. Imagine them saying, you know what? We making all these money off these black folks. Let's get a heart. Let's get a heart and start just giving away money. When did they start doing that? And for what? Some people don't do things because it's against their religion. It's against their culture. It's against what they represent. Who bets Bronny to score 10 points? I bet Bronny to get the under every time if he's on the betting sheets. They don't always put Bronny on a betting sheet, buddy. Oh, I wish I find this person stupid enough to put Bronny on a betting sheet. They'd be like, oh, Bronny's up there. Bronny James. Will he get 4 points? Nope. Under. It's under all the time. That's going to be the game you go off. I'm going to help Bronny out. Will Bronny James get 4 points in tonight's game? Hell no. Will he get 2.5 points? Hell no. Maybe Bronny James. He just has to score 1 point. Hell no. That's why I'm like, look at all this glazing for Bronny. I'm like, how is all this glazing they doing for Bronny? Because he had, what, 5 points? He hit one shot. He was 1 for 4. He's shooting 18% in the NBA. Do you know, man, he had 6 assists, though. Do you know if Bronny James wasn't LeBron James' son, where would he be right now? He'd be in Sioux Falls somewhere. That boy be in Sioux Falls. They be, and at starting guard, 6'2", you're a Muscat. You playing for the Muscats. You're like, boy, you playing for the Muscats. All right, stop playing. Now, where were we before we were rudely interrupted? Yes, I'm going to get ready to hit the Patreon up. What I'm doing is just putting up clothing from my washer and dryer. That is correct. I wash my own clothes. Oh, we got a lot going on. We're going to talk about men, women, and money. That's going to be on the Patreon. We're also going to talk about something else entirely, which is called when a good deal turns into a bad deal. So yeah, we're going to get into it. Plus, we're going to talk about this. Oh, yeah. Because it's a lot of stuff I want to talk about that's Patreon work. So I'm just holding back on it. So, yeah. I kind of want to get into that a little bit more. So let me go focus on that right now and get situated. Put up the rest of these clothes. Yeah, I'm going to hit y'all later. Deuces.